Hi everyone, well welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to build another leaded glass floral display. This one here is going to be a little bit different than the other one that we just did. This one's going to be designed very simply, and it's also going to be designed, we're going to put a hanger on it, and this one here is going to hang on the wall. So we're going to use the same dimensions we did before. We're going to go 12 inches. This one here is not going to have near as many pieces in it. And what we're going to do right in here in the middle here, we're going to come up here and we're going to make this flare out. And then we'll take and fuse our pocket down in here. So to get started here, let me move some of this stuff out of the way here. I've got a piece of drawing paper down to my build board. This is my pattern paper. I didn't have a big enough piece for the whole project, so I just spliced some together. So I have this drawing paper hinged at the top. So I can insert this right in here like that. I'm going to take and tape it down with a couple pieces of masking tape so it doesn't move on me. So we'll just take and stick that down so it doesn't move. Here again, this is going to be one of my cut and stack ideas. We're going to just start out with a circle and then we'll figure out what we're going to do here in the middle. So this is my pattern paper down. This is my paper we're going to draw on, but I want to put some tracing paper in here to transfer my pattern as we draw it. So I'm just going to put about 4 sheets in here. So I'll be sure to have everybody covered here. As I said in the other video, there's nothing worse than to get this all drawn up and then find out part of it's missing. Then you kind of have to fool around with it to get it to go here. The carbon paper, you can use it over and over and over, so eventually it gets worn out and then you have to start over. So I've got that down. So now we're going to pull our drawing sheet down, and I'm going to take and I'm going to tape it down so it doesn't move. Even though it's hinged at the top, I don't want it to move sideways or down here at the bottom. You can see I've already drawn a center section right here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get our ruler out like we did before. This is the one I talked about. This is made out of just a real inexpensive plastic ruler. I've drilled at the 1-inch mark right here. This is the start of the 1-inch mark. And every 1/4 of an inch I've drilled some holes out here. So the way this system works, if you've seen the other videos that we've done with circles, you would know how it works. We use a push pin right here in the pivot point. Going to go right on our XY axis there, and I'm going to just take and push this down. I have a little socket wrench right here, which happens to fit perfect for this, so I can push it down tight. And then we're going to make this 12 inches in diameter, so we'll come out here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inches. So this will be our 6-inch mark right here. And we're going to make our outer, this will be our outer circle right here. This one here, I think we're going to make it, I think we'll make it 1 1/4 inch, a bigger border for this one. This is going to be a pretty simple one to make. It's not going to have near as many pieces in it as we have in the other ones. So that makes our circle. Our cross pieces right here already create a system where our border is broken into 4s, but we want to make it into 8s. So the way we're going to do that, we're going to take our square and we're going to take a 45-degree triangle, this one right here, and just bring it in here, and we're going to take this, get it going the right direction here, set it right here, bring it up right against our mark right here. Make sure your square is good up against your backstop, and we're just going to create a line right here. And I'm going to go over here. I'm going to do the same thing. So this will get us broke into 8 equal pieces. Right there. And now up here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to come back in here. Here again, make sure everything's square. Okay. So that takes care of our border portion of the project. Now what we're going to do, we're going to come in here. We're going to be about 3 inches wide, and we're going to make this come up, and we're going to fan it out here. So there's a number of ways you could do that. One, you could take a piece, fold it in half, and then cut a fan and fool around with it. I'm going to show you another way to do it. I've determined I want my fan to start about 2.5 inches off from about right here. So this is the ruler that we've used before. It's 3 inches wide, so right in the middle here is 1.5 inches. So I can just take this ruler and line it up on my center line right here. And that puts this right in the middle here. So we're going to start out like right here and right here. We're just going to draw some small lines down, just like that. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to come up from the bottom right here. I'm going to come up 2.5 inches. Right like that. I'm going to give it a mark right there. Then I'm going to come in here. I'm going to take my triangle here. I'm going to use I'll do it this way. I'm going to line it up on this mark right here. I'm going to come out here on the outside edge and mark it. Then I'm going to come out here on the outside edge and mark it. Then I'm going to use a yardstick, a long yardstick. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it on here. And I'm going to draw this on out. It'll go out the edge of our paper. Okay, so after we've drawn our line right here, what we're going to do now, we're going to take our ruler and we're going to take it, this is the pivot point here in the back. I'm going to line it up right on this point, and then I'm going to line up the pivot point on that line that we just drew. I'm going to use my push pin, and I'm going to push it in here, push it down, and then I'm going to take this, and I'm going to make it go up just like this. Then I'm going to come over on the other side here and do the same thing. I'm going to line it up on the center here. I'm going to have to increase this line just a little bit because I need to know where this cross point is right here, right there. So I'm going to bring this down, put that cross point right here, line this up on my line that we drew earlier. Going to stick my pencil in here. That'll be our fan piece. Right in here now is where we'll put our pocket. So basically these lines right here, we don't need these lines anymore. They serve their purpose. They told me where I wanted to make my fan come out. We don't need this piece here. And we're going to do the pocket like we did on the other one. We'll come in here and we're going to fuse. We'll do the same thing here. We're going to come in here about a 1/4 inch away. We're going to make a piece that goes down here like this, be about a 1/4 inch off here, and we're going to fuse it onto this base piece right here. So we'll go offline now, and I'll go ahead and get this piece ready to go here. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and finish up our pattern here. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to number these up. We'll number them up as we go here. Okay, I'll come back. This is going to be number 9 here, this one here. This is number 10, and this is going to be number 11. And I'm also going to draw some directional arrows on here. If you've followed any of my other videos, you know I like to have it all going the same direction. So we'll put some arrows on here. So when I come back, we'll show you what the pattern's going to look like, and we'll also show you with the directional arrows on here, and we'll go from there. But the directional arrows are real simple to do. We're just going to take a square. We're going to set the square in here, and we're just going to push up here like this. we'll take and put some little pointers on it here. So I'll go through this whole thing and do that. When I come back, we'll untape this and we'll lift it up and we'll get our pattern piece out. We're back. Okay, so we got all our numbers in now, and we've got all our arrows pointing for the direction of the glass we're going to make. I took my felt tip pen and I darkened into all the areas where the lead's going to go. So now what we're going to do, we're just going to take the top sheet off here, pull it off. And I'm just going to hinge it back. Just get it out of the way here. And I'm going to remove our carbon paper. So here's our pattern now. I'm just going to use regular scissors on it. Here again, it's our cut and stack idea, so I don't really care if this starts to grow a little bit. It'll be fine, and we'll go ahead and cut all these pieces out. And then when we come back, I'll have cut this center one out of here. And the center one, we're going to use a kind of a iridescent blue for this center one. Out here on the outer edges here, we're going to use kind of a salt or a sandy looking glass. So anyway, we'll just undo our pattern piece right here. And we'll pull it out of the way. So that's our pattern right there. Put it out of the way. Move our carbon paper out of the way. And we're just bring our drawing paper down, and I'm going to tape it down. So we'll just build right on top of this. So that'll give you a good area to work with. I'll just take a couple pieces of masking tape and tape this down so it doesn't move on us, so it stays in place. And then, like I said, when we come back, I'll have cut this fan part of it out, and then I'll show you how we're going to put the pocket in here. We'll fuse that in here. So we're using a code 96 fusible glass, and we're going to fuse it somewhere between 1450 and 1460 degrees to get it to bond to the centerpiece. So we'll be back in a minute. Okay, well, we're back. We got our fan part of the project cut here, and we've got a little piece of glass cut here that we're going to put in here, and we're going to fire to this main fan base here. But in order to create a pocket situation here, we need to build this up somehow. So what we're going to do here, we'll leave that right there. What we're going to do here, turn our glass over, and this is a product, it's called a fiber board. This one here happens to be about an 1/8 inch thick. They make some that are 1/4. I think there's even some that are 3/8. But what this will do, this will not burn up in the kiln. So I think this probably handles 1600 degrees. So it's quite high on temperature. So anyway, what I've done is I've cut 2 pieces of it. I'm going to glue them together, and I'm going to create a sandwich that's going to look like this. And the sandwich, you notice it's got a step here up to this one here. And when we put this on the glass, we're going to put this on the glass over so that when it starts to fire, these outside edges will slump over. And when they slump over, they will stick to this part of the glass when it's fired. And we're going to fire this at about 1450 degrees. So to get started, we're just going to take a little bit of white glue, and we're going to set these together here. So this is our base. I also took this one here and I cut it just a little bit on an angle. So we're going to take this one here, and we're just going to put a few dabs of white glue on here. It doesn't need a lot. Just like that. And I'm going to line the tops of them up just like this. And I want to put this in the middle right here. I want to put it in the middle of our, just like that. I'm going to bring in our glass here. Make sure this is the side we want up when it's fired. Make sure you turn it over so you don't fire the wrong side to it. And then we're just going to take and put just a little bit of glue here. What the glue does is hold the fireboard down so it doesn't move around. and we're going to insert it right here. And we're going to line it up right at the top, just like that. So now, after we get that lined up, now we're going to take and we're going to put just a couple more little dabs of glue here. And we're going to take this piece right here. You can see this is going to create us a gap in there. We're going to turn this over and we're going to place this right on our fan glass, and we're going to position it. I'm going to be about 1/4 of an inch away here, about 1/4 of an inch up off the bottom right here. Okay, let's push this down just a little bit, and we're going to let that set for just a couple of minutes. I'm going to use a piece of what they call fire paper. This is what I'm going to put behind this to go on our kiln shelf. You don't really need to use that. I like to use it because it makes the back of the glass smoother, but it's not necessary. But I'm just going to put a couple little dabs of glue down on here. And I'm going to take and move this over to the paper here. And then, after I got that on there, I'm going to move this away. I'm going to bring in our kiln shelf. This is the shelf that goes in the, actually goes in the kiln. If you watch the other video, I re-cleaned it and put a new coating of kiln wash on it so that it doesn't look quite so bad. The other one was pretty spotty. After I looked at the video, I thought you guys probably had a heart attack looking at that one. So anyway, this is going to pick up like this. I like to place it, if I can, right in the middle of the kiln. It gives nice even firing. And we'll let this set for just a few minutes, and then we're going to go ahead and we'll fire it up, and these will sag over our fiberboard and they'll fuse to the edges of our glass right here, and it'll make a real smooth transition onto our unit. Then we can just go back inside here with a pair of tweezers, and we'll pick out the fiberboard, which will leave us an opening for our flowers to come out of here. And so while that's getting ready to fire, I'll go ahead and cut the rest of the pieces of glass. All right, we're back. We got our fan out of the kiln now, and so the pocket's all fired on here, which came out nice. You'll notice that when you fire this, it has a tendency to shrink a little bit. So you can see we've come out of our lines here already. And like I said, this is our cut and stack project, so we don't really care where this ends up. So that doesn't create an issue for us. But I looked at this this layout, this design, and before we had this whole thing over here was all clear glass, and which meant that by the time we get our flowers and everything in here, we're not going to have much color to this. So I changed it. I added another line right here, and I cut the clear down, so the clear is going to go right here, and I brought in another piece of iridescent blue, and it's going to go right here. So anyway, so we changed the plans. That's the fun part about creating these things yourself, is that you can just do whatever you want to with them. And in this case here, we decided that we needed to add a little bit more color to it. So I'm going to go offline. I'm going to cut some H-cane. We'll come in here. We'll put a piece of H-cane down here, a piece down here, over here, and over here. And then we'll take and we'll wrap around it with our H-cane, and we'll put our border on it. And we're going to be pretty much done with this. So it's a pretty quick project. So we'll be back in a minute when we get some cane cut, and we'll go ahead and show you how we're going to stick this all together. Okay, we're back. So we started to put our lead in here, and I want to show you how to do that. So we're putting our H-cane in through here. So when you take your H-cane, when it comes up to these connections right here, you want to cut them on a little bit of an angle, and you want to cut them back a little bit because we're going to wrap all the way around here with H-cane. So you insert your cane just like this, and I just take my little tool right here, set it right in the track here, and I run right around inside the channel and push it up against my glass so I know that it fits real nice and tight. Then I take my next section of glass insert it in the H channel, line it up where I want it. Then I take my second piece of H-came, I'm going to stick it in here. Here again, I'm going to take and run inside here like this. Then I'm going to take my last piece of glass, bring it in here, get it in lined up in place here, right like that. And then I'm going to take a couple of pieces of our old U-came here and just going to pin it here so it doesn't get away from us. Just like that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go offline. I'm going to cut us a piece of H-came to go all the way around this. And I'll pre-bend it. Probably will bend it on some kind of a barrel or a pie tin or something to get it started for us here. And in order to find out how big a piece I would need, I'm going to use my my string again. This just gives me a rough idea of how much I need. And so I'm just going to take it. Got a little loop on the end here. I'm just going to put it on here. And I'm just going to go around the edge here like this. It's cutting some corners here, so I'll add some to it just to make sure that I have enough. Comes around. I'll come around about this far right here to make up for the shortcuts that it's doing right here. So now I kind of have a rough idea. So I need a piece of H-came approximately this long to go around here. So I'll go cut that and I'll get it pre-bent, and when we come back we'll show you how we're going to put this together. And we'll stop at one of these joints right here somewhere, so when it's all soldered up you won't know where we put this all together. So I'll be back in a second after I get my H-came cut, and we'll be ready to wrap it up. Okay, I'm back. I've got our H-came cut now, and I pre-bent this. There's all kinds of things around the house that you can use. Like I just basically used a pie pan to get this kind of a smooth bend here to start with. We're going to start right over here, and we're going to come on around, and we're going to quit right here. And we're going to start at this joint, and we'll butt the two ends together right here. That will hide this joint when we solder this. So I'm going to just take and pre-bend this back just a little bit more to get an angle on it that I like. So we'll pull these out right here. And we're going to set this in here. I think we'll start right here. And I'm going to take right there. And I'm going to pin that right there. And then I'm just going to work this around it. I'm going to use a lot of pins because I want to keep it up tight against all of this. We'll take this out of here. If you don't use enough pins here, it'll pull away from the glass, and then your circle won't be nice and smooth. And so we want it to be smooth. So just bring it on around. So far, so good. Pull these two out of here. Bring this on around. Like I say, keep pinning it so he's got it nice and tight. Okay, so here's where we're going to end right here. So I'm going to bring this on around to give it a little bit of bend to it. And like we've done the other ones here, I'm going to cut this intentionally just a little bit long right here. And then I'll cut it with my dikes. Going to set them up on the edge. Then I'm going to trim this back just a little bit at a time until it slides right in here. I'll pull this one back out just a little bit. I want to cut it a little bit on an angle. Just like that. There's what we're looking for right there. Pull that in tight. So when we solder this joint right here, you'll never see where these came together. So push it in here, pin it up real tight. Use your tool here to make sure the joint's smooth. All right, that looks good. So now I'll go offline and we'll get ready to put our border around here. And then we'll go ahead and solder it up, and we'll put a hanger on the back of it, put some flowers in it, and the project will be done. So we'll be back in a minute. All right, we got our border pieces all cut up now, so we're ready to put them around our project here. So the way they're going to work is that we'll take and slide them in here into the H-came, and we'll bring it right up to our line here. Right there. Then we're just going to take a piece of our old U-came and we're going to stick it on the edge so we don't chip our glass. And we'll just take and give it a pin just like that. And then we're going to take this lead for the H-came, and remember this U-came has a wider lip on it, so you have to cut it a little bit short, so you want this to fit in there nice and tight. So this will go right in here, and we'll put number 8 right here, just like that. Make sure it's lined up where you want it. Here again, we'll take our U-came here, and we'll put it in here. And then here we'll put our next piece of H-came, and we'll put it here. So I'll go offline and go all the way around here. And then when I come back, I'll have a piece of U-came pre-bent to come around and to wrap this all back up. We'll do this, the U-came just like we did this one here. We'll pre-bend it on something that's approximately, I think it's about 12 inches. Yeah, we'll find something something to kind of pre-bend that on. It's about 12 inches. My 5-gallon paint can is 12 inches, so that'll work good. If you don't pre-bend it, it's just fine. You can start out, but it's a little bit harder because you need to be able to slide it in. And depending on your work table, you may not have enough room to pull out a big section of it. So this gets us started on our border. I'll come back when we get this all done with and then we'll wrap it in the U-came, and then we'll get ready to solder it. And we're moving right along, so the project won't be much longer before it's done. All right, well, we're back. We got our border all put on now. So now I pre-bent our U-came to go around the outside edge. So we're going to start right here at the top. And I've kind of marked the center of this. So we'll take and pull out these pieces right here. So you can see I've got lots of pins on it to, like I said before, to hold it nice and tight as we go around. And so as we start to put this U-came on here, we'll do the same thing. Push it down on there, take and pin it. Then we'll pull this out of here. Pull this around, pin it. Going to put a pin right by where the joints are at here. So we're going to stop this right here at the bottom. That's where we're going to stop it. So Then we'll take and we'll splice those together so that there'll be a nice smooth seam. As you can see, by keeping these all pinned up really tight, you got a really nice smooth edge coming all the way around here. So that makes it nice. So here's where we're going to end it right here. Like we've done on the other ones. We're going to go across that to get the shape we want. Like that. Going to bend this on around. Okay, now we're going to take and we're going to mark this right in the middle of this piece of H-came coming down. That way we'll hide this solder joint when we solder it. I'm going to take my dikes. The smooth side is going to be in here. We're going to put it right there. Okay, so we're going to bring this other side down now. Get rid of some of this stuff here. We don't need all this hanging around here to clutter things up. Okay, so we're going to pull this one out now. Pull it around. Pin it. So the more time you take with this, the nicer your circle looks. So, you know, don't be in a too big a hurry to get this wrapped on here. Bring it on down around. Keep pinning it here as you go around. This is the kind of joint you're looking for right here, where they're nice and tight against the H-came and the U-came here, so that you don't have a big gap there. So that's what you want to try to strive for when you're working on this. So here again, we figured out how long to make this U-came with our string again. So that works out quite well. And as you can see here, we're going to be just about right where we want it here. So here again, now we're going to cut this just a little bit long on purpose. And then I can come in here and I can push it in there and work it back. Here again, flat side in. You want to be sure to use the flat side, because if you use the other side, it'll have a point on it, and then that'll ruin your whole thing here. So you can see here, we've got about 1/8 of an inch to go here. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to just cut this. That's really, really close. I'm going to try to get just a little bit more off of here. This one here is kind of interfering with my dike, so I'm going to move it over. There we go. That's what we're looking for. We can take a little block of wood here, push this on around. We want those to come together real tight right there. Take and put a couple pins in here. Push that up nice and tight. If you think it's going to come away from you, from where you want it, take a little piece of your form wood here, push it in here and push it up where you want it. And then put a couple pins in it here. This will hold it nice and tight so when we get ready to solder it. Okay, so check all your joints here. Make sure you got everything the way you want it. And we'll go ahead and we'll just take and pull out the ones at the joints, or just move them over. And then what we're going to do, we're going to come back in here and we're going to solder this up for finish the project off. All right, looks good. Okay, so we're going to need some more solder. Here, we'll get these out of the way here too. We're going to need our flux. May need more solder than I've got on that little roll right there. And then we're going to get our stainless steel brush here. And we're going to take and we're going to pull, get our soldering iron over here. We've got it all heated up. So we'll set it right here. And then we're going to take our stainless steel brush here, and we're going to take it, we're going to brush all of our joints. Just like that. I'll get started here, and then I'll go offline and we'll do the rest of it, so you don't need to watch me solder the whole thing. Okay, so we got that all taken care of. So we're going to take our flux now, we're going to put it on our joints. Just like that. Okay, then like I've done before, I've got a piece of old U-cane right here, and I'm going to wipe the tip off of my iron on my sponge, and I'm going to take and put it on this U-cane, make sure that it doesn't have a spike on it. If it has a spike on it, it'll melt your lead before you get started, and then you've got a problem. So we want to be sure that it's all right. Then I'm going to take and I'm going to tin my iron. That means just put a little bit of solder on it, and then we'll start right here. It doesn't make any difference where you start. And then we're just going to take off about a 1/16 of an inch right off the end of your solder. You don't need a whole lot, just about a 1/16 of an inch. Right here's where this came in contact, this inside one, so you can see it's all disappeared now. So we just go ahead and solder these up. Come out here, the outside edge. We'll take and solder this one. This is where our two outside came together. There we go. So that hides all of our joints for us. If you have one that kind of sucks down there, or if you don't like the way that looks, just add just a little bit more to it and bring it back up. This one here did the same thing here. After you do this for a while, you'll get a feel for how you like to make the bead on here. I try to make them all the same if possible. Sometimes that doesn't work as well as we had hoped for, but I'm going to go offline now. I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, and then I'll turn it over. When I turn it over, I'm going to come back to you real quick, because we're going to put this on something to take care of this hump that we have here from the pocket. So I'm going to show you what we're going to do with that. So I'll be back in a minute, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we got it all soldered up on the front side here. This doesn't take very long. And first of all, this project's fairly quick because it's only 13 pieces of glass in it. So we got all the solder joints done. So we're going to pull out all these pins now, and we'll get ready to turn it over. And I wanted to show you what we're going to do when we turn it over, because it's important that you keep this flat when you solder it. And with this hump in here, we need some way to make up for that. So I'll show you what we're going to do. You could have a couple pieces of wood on each side here when you turn it over that are taller than this hump right here. Or in our case, I'm going to take this box that we made with the hole in it, and I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to take and put the hump inside where the hole is right here. Okay, and from there, we're going to go ahead and solder it. Here's a little area right here that needs a little attention right here. We're going to take and push that up. Got to straighten that up a little bit, because we want that, even though this is the back side, we want that to be in line there. Okay, so I'm going to go offline. I'm going to solder this up, and then when we come back, we're going to put a hanger right across here, and I'll show you what we're going to do. We're going to make that hanger out of some 12 gauge copper wire. So it'll solder onto this piece of cane right here, and it'll have a loop on it so we can hang it on the wall. So I'll be back in a second. We'll get this soldered up, and then we'll come back and we'll finish up the project. All right, we're back. We got the back all soldered up now. So I went ahead and made us a little hanger for this. This is made out of the 12 gauge copper wire, and it's going to go right in here. And we're going to just take a little piece of our form wood to raise this up, so that we can be able to hang it on something that's on the wall. You know, whether you're going to have a nail in the wall or whatever you have in the wall, a picture hanger or something like that. So anyway, I'm going to hold that right there, and I'm going to take and I'm going to hold it with my hand. I'm going to take and flux this right here. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a little stick of wood. You want to hold this with your fingers because this gets hot super quick. You'll burn yourself. So I'm going to put this right here. Make sure this is where I want it, right in the center here. So now I've got just a little bit of solder right here on the end of my iron. I'm just going to set it right in here. Oh, it's not going to be enough. So let me get a little bit more on my iron. Just taking solder that right there like that. Okay, and then once it's soldered, I can move away. And then I'll come over on this side here. I'll take and flux this down. Flux it here. And then I'm just going to take my iron in here. I'm going to leave this up in here. I want to keep that up there so it'll have a gap. And I'm just going to solder this shut all the way along here. Okay, now I can come over and do this the same over here. There we go. Just like that. So now we got our hanger on here. If you need to, you can straighten it up just a little bit right here. It needs to be straightened up just a little bit. Just like that. Okay, so we'll clean this up a little bit. So this will create the hanger for us. So when you look at it from the edge here, you can see that here's how we're going to hang it right in here. So this will be hanging on the wall. So this will make a really, really nice, attractive project. I'll get my lovely wife to arrange some flowers in here, and when we come back we'll have it hanging on the wall, and we'll take a couple pictures of it, and the project will be done. You may notice that this one here is much shorter than some of my other videos. The reason for that is some of the other videos I took a lot more time soldering more of the project and cutting the glass and doing things like that. But as we move along on my videos, they're getting a little bit harder each time, even though this is a pretty simple project. So I'm kind of, glancing over some of the things. So if you feel like we've left some things out, go ahead and take a look at some of the older videos. You'll see that I spend more time on it. And if you're brand new at this, you'll want to check out maybe the leaded glass solar lantern for beginners. That talks about tools and all kinds of different things. What we're going to do here, we're going to also put the flowers in, and we're going to hang this up, and then we'll be back and we'll shoot some pictures of it. So we'll be back in a minute. All right, well, we're back. We got our project all done now. It came out really nice. My wife did a good job getting the flowers in there, so it looks very pretty. So anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have questions about it, subscribe to my channel. I'll try to get back to you with an answer. Hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next video.